Hey, good morning, folks. Welcome to another episode of North Coast Coffee Chats. I'm Lone Coach Kelly, the host of this event here this morning, and David West, typically my partner in crime, is absent today, so we're going to be running the show solo here. We've got one of our newer members who was a member who had a little bit of transition in his business world. And so Steve Cummings, welcome to the show today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to have you on. And I'm glad that I reached out to you on LinkedIn.
Me too.
We were kind of wondering what had happened to you. You came in, and I think the group really liked your energy and was excited to have somebody in your position. We'll talk about that in your business. But then obviously you went through some change there. We'll dive into that a little bit too. And then you resurfaced. I found you on LinkedIn. Great, powerful resource to connect with small business owners and look for opportunities to grow relationships. And that's how we got reconnected again and got you back into the group. So North Coast Coffee Chats is kind of a spinoff of our North Coast networking group. We meet every Thursday morning, and we are built around business referral partnerships. And so we've got about 30 members, and we meet at 8 o'clock on Thursday mornings. Well, 7:15 to 8 o'clock on Thursday mornings. And so we're going to talk a little bit about Steven and his business and how he got to become an entrepreneur-minded individual. So let's dive in. And first of all, how did you, are you from San Diego?
No, actually, I use the term from around the way a lot. What that means to me is I've lived in 12 different states.
Wow, traveled.
Yeah, traveled quite a bit. Born in Missouri, moved to Colorado to California, Southern California to Oklahoma, Oklahoma to Texas back to Southern California, so that's twice.
Okay.
From there to New Jersey, to Washington, D.C., to Oregon, to Washington, to Northern California, back to Southern California.
Wow.
So I've had a unique opportunity in my life to see the best and the worst of our country.
Got it.
To be honest with you. Yeah.
So military?
Military has been, not necessarily when I was growing up, a strange family dynamic is what it really came down to. So we moved around quite a bit. I guess my parents were somewhat nomadic by nature. And then as I got older, of course, I did join the military on my own. So I did have some military experience that way.
Which branch?
U.S. Coast Guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And where did you operate out of when you started that?
Primarily was Washington, D.C. You wouldn't think of the Coast Guard in Washington, D.C., but I was recruited out of boot camp to go to the Presidential Honor Guard. And so the Presidential Honor Guard is comprised, every branch has their own honor guard, and we are comprised of the top 1% of the enlisted personnel. So they're recruited to go put on the dog and pony show for the military.
Got it.
The prim, the proper, the perfect, the drill team guys, and that type of thing. So I did that for a couple-year period of time while I was waiting to train for something called LEDET, which is a law enforcement detachment that usually partners with the Navy. And the Coast Guard would go out with the Navy vessel, and they would do search and rescue, drug interdiction, that type of thing, but connected to a Navy vessel.
Got it.
So my career was awesome. Unfortunately, had an injury that required some surgical correction, and that ended my career there. So moved away from the Coast Guard, and it was like trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life, because I had a view of where I was going to go. And with the surgery and not being fit for full duty, they said, unfortunately, your military career is done. So put me in a unique position trying to figure out what to do with the rest of my life.
How many years did you serve on that?
Just shy of 4.
Okay.
I almost did my full 4. So I got released on honorable conditions with the medical discharge.
Okay. Awesome. Did you end up going into college at any point in time?
No, for parties, yes. For education, no. It wasn't in my path. No resources. I've been on my own roughly since I was like 17.
Okay.
So I didn't really have an opportunity to go to college. Maybe I wasn't educated enough on my options at the time.
Yeah.
So I missed out on that one. Wish I would have gone. I don't know. Is it too old? Am I too old?
No.
Maybe I'm too old.
But at this stage, to get a piece of paper if you wanted to.
Yeah, well, I think at this stage I'm too old to start over a new career. So
true.
Here's where I'm at. So after the military, I tried to figure out what I was going to do with the rest of my life. Brief period as an entrepreneur in the carpet and upholstery restoration industry.
Okay.
And worked that very physical job for the better part of about 6 or 7 years when I realized that physically, because of my injury that I had in the military, this was not going to be the best option long term. And a friend introduced me to insurance. She just asked me, she says, have you ever thought about doing anything else other than what you're doing now? And I was, no. And then she says, well, why don't you come to work with me for a day?
Okay.
And I said, well, I'd be interested in seeing what that was all about. So I did. And it was fascinating to me that we were meeting in clients' homes, and I didn't really know anything at the time. But she introduced me to the insurance world. It seemed to click. It made sense to me. And that was 26 years ago.
Got it.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. You very well traveled. Insurance is a national thing, right? So you can do. You don't really need to have state licensure, do you?
Yep.
You do. Okay.
Yep.
So it's much more like real estate and mortgage that you do require. Each state does require a specific license to sell.
Yeah,
okay.
And probably continuing education for everybody in the industry. I have to do the same thing every 2 years, and
Got it.
And every year I have to recertify, because at the national level I do represent the majority of the Medicare programs, which is a national program, and then at the local level, of course, the state of California has Covered California.
Yep.
And I represent Covered California plans as well. So I assist with not only over age 65, but everybody under the age of 65 as well.
Okay, so pivot back real quick. So insurance is a super broad industry because there's insurance for just about anything you want. Like you can insure your refrigerator if you felt like it. So there's like all kinds of insurances. And when you got in, you were focused specifically at the beginning on medical and health?
Yeah, that's how I was introduced.
Okay.
It was geared towards our aging population. So I had I didn't know her well, but on my mother's side, my grandmother, I believe she had Parkinson's disease is what it was. And she ended up in a long-term care scenario where at home receiving care and then in a nursing facility. I think it was assisted living, actually.
Yeah.
And she placed herself there herself, not to be a burden on us.
Yeah.
Which I found very matriarchal, actually. And she ended up going through a lot of her money. She left the property behind for my siblings, but I'd never realized that Medicare didn't cover those types of things. And so I went on that meeting with my friend the very first day. She said, I'm going to talk to seniors about this. And I went, oh, I have a little experience there. And when I saw how she interacted with this elderly lady and what they were talking about, it kind of triggered oh yeah, my grandmother went through this. And then I said, so you're telling me there's insurance plans that would have covered my grandma's care costs? I had no clue about any of it, and just something clicked. Yeah. So I thought that this was worthwhile. It seemed to be honorable. There were some sales involved, but I figure once you get educated enough and you're confident enough, you're not really selling.
I agree.
Anymore, right? You're just kind of more of a coach or a mentor. Like, we're not going down this pathway based on your needs. We're going down this pathway.
Yeah.
So
that's great. I've lived kind of through that mindset of, in my industry, in mortgage, getting into the mortgage business right out of college 25 years ago, learning as a loan processor and learning the process, learning and working with underwriters for 5 or 6 months and realizing, what are you actually doing? Like, what is what is the purpose, and how do you quantify someone's ability to qualify for a loan? So as you learn through those processes, then you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then you're like, hey, well, I can talk to that person, and I can talk to that person, I can talk to that person. And if I know how to piece these people into the right programs, then the sale doesn't really feel like a sale.
Right.
You have to sell yourself, of course, but at the end of the day, they are seeking a product, and can you deliver that product for them? It sounds like over 26 years, you've done a very good job of selling yourself and knowing your product base.
Yeah, I like to think so. I mean, my relationship with my clients, I've always said half of them probably tolerate me, but they respect me. And then the other half actually do like me. And so, I don't know how to cater to everybody's individual needs and make everyone like me. But for the most part, I'm okay with being 50% respected and 50% liked.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's okay. It's they know I'm here to do a job for you. Yeah. And maybe our personalities aren't perfect fits.
Sure.
But you know what? At least at the end of the day, I could communicate enough to get you what you need, to where you feel comfortable and educated that you're not you're not getting rooked, right? You're not getting,
Yeah.
you're not getting taken advantage of. This guy's not selling me some bogus policy that I don't need. Because there's probably people in the industry who do, right?
Yeah, that's happened, and I've known people like that, and I've worked at certain agencies in the past where not everybody is going to be top shelf on everything that they do. I'm not saying that they do anything illegal, but at the end of the day, there's a right and there's a wrong way to go about it. I think I do it the right way. I'm always open to learn, of course, but at this stage, when like you were talking about, I just moved away from one working environment to now completely independent. When I first went to work for my previous company, I went in just to talk to him and I said, look, here's 5 of my own clients. If you want to know what I do and how I service my folks, and just ask them what they think about me, and they'll tell you. And if you don't like what they have to say, you don't have to hire me. So I didn't come in with a fancy resume or anything like that. I just said, here's 5 folks who are not related that you can call and ask about my service and what I've been able to provide for them. And the company I worked for did that. And so that's how they ended up hiring me, was based on recommendations from clients who were a little upset that I wasn't going to be working with them anymore because I moved away.
Yeah.
But they were honest enough to tell my former employer, what they thought about me. And luckily, it worked out.
So did you start doing medical and health insurance in a different state?
I did. It was Washington.
Okay.
Washington and
Washington
Oregon.
State.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was licensed in Washington, reciprocal in Oregon, and then I got a reciprocal in California.
Okay.
Because the goal eventually, when I was up there, was eventually to build up a book of business large enough, then move down to Southern California and be able to utilize that book of business and still maintain the client base just from a distance.
Yeah.
With the Zoom platforms and everything, we can still have our face-to-face, which a lot of my older clients prefer.
Yeah.
So, with the advent of the Zoom and Google Meets, I think it is as well, it makes it a little easier for some of my homebound clients who still want that face-to-face.
Sure.
And I am still willing to go, depending on where they live, to meet for a coffee in person or even go to their home and have a meeting there.
Got it. Okay. So tell me a little bit about the licensing process in other states compared to California. How different is that?
Well, again, this was 26 years ago. So I was told in the great state of Washington that it's one of the hardest to get licensed in.
Okay.
And then if you can pass the exams and get your licenses, that there are just numerous states that are willing to give reciprocal licenses. Just pay the fee, we'll give you a license. So I didn't know any better at the time. I just studied, got lucky enough to pass it the very, very first time. And from there, it was just, that was the scariest part, is actually passing the test and saying, okay, you're licensed now, you can go do this. And it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah, exactly.
So
that oh hell moment.
yeah, that first or that second stage of development when you know that you don't know.
Yeah.
And it was a little concerning for me, but I found a company that was willing to do training, and that's how I got my start.
Got it. So 26 years in the space. At what point in that history did you move to California?
This would have been about 11 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, 11 years ago.
So you've been doing it now for 11 years in
Here.
San Diego.
In San Diego proper.
Okay.
Yeah. In the state of California, I had the reciprocal license.
Right.
So I had a few clients that, either moved or some referrals from agents that I used to train back in the day who moved themselves. Mm-hmm. They would send me referrals from California. Specifically, I had an agent who moved, I think, to Texas. And he goes, hey, can you help this guy in California? And I'm like, sure. So,
yeah, it's always been a great opportunity for me in the loan space too, is to, similarly, if you have to get federally licensed in mortgage. So once you get your federal license, then you can decide to take a state license. And then if you get that state license in some states, and they're like, all reciprocal, okay, we'll give you this one and this one and this one, and you're covered. And you don't need to do your continuing education. You just need to do the federal, and then we'll keep renewing you as long as you continue to be productive in that state doing an origination. So,
sure. Is it every 2 years for you guys, or is it?
For us, it's annually.
Yeah, I have to do my Medicare annually, but my continuing education for general is every 2 years.
Yeah, so we have 7 hours of federal annually, and then most states are 1 year of CE.
Yeah, 24 hours is what I have to do.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's It's not fun.
Well,
I'm in that process right now. I got eight
mine's
more
coming
hours.
Up. Mine's coming up. My renewal's coming up in, I think it's March. So,
Yeah, we got to have it done before December 31st every year.
Got it.
But okay, so you're in California 11 years. You're working for a firm, an agency?
It was an agency.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a family-run agency. Actually, we found each other just by chance, quite frankly. I think one of their family members who was working for the agency had left and moved to a different part of the country, and there was a big void there. And it just so happened I was looking when I moved down here, well, let me find a local agency, because I've worked at the captive level where I work for one insurance company, and then I've worked at a national level for a financial marketing organization, so a much, much larger one. So I've done kind of both.
Okay.
And I was looking for that soft in-between spot that I thought, maybe a family-run, a local agency where I can still be a broker, but not have to worry about the big corporate, national pressure, if you will.
Sure.
So got lucky enough and found the agency I was working with, was great for well over 10 years. I was hoping to retire there, but the previous owners ended up having to sell.
Got it.
And I had an agreement with the previous owners on some retirement benefits in the future, like hopefully stay here for the remainder of my working career. And when they made the transition in the sale, unfortunately, that was not going to be able to be honored. So here's where I find myself.
Bummer.
Yeah, well, life's full of change and challenge all the time, and try to be firm but adaptable.
Yeah,
is what I try to do.
That's good. Yeah, because you just never know. I mean, any time in business, I think that's really what makes an entrepreneur spirit thrive, is the ability to adapt.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be so rigid and focused on this one path in life if you're an entrepreneur, because you're going to run into speed bumps, you're going to run into roadblocks, you're going to run into dead ends, and you have to be able to slam it in reverse and be able to bob and weave.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you were you're on that path. You had to bob and weave
A little bit.
and now you have started your own agency.
Yeah. And this is basically, I've done this before where I was kind of independent on my own, lone wolf, I guess you will. I wasn't mature enough, honestly, the first time. No. Okay. I didn't have all the skill sets that I needed. I didn't have the discipline that I needed to do it effectively. I did it well enough to maintain a certain level of production, but I wasn't at my highest level. So now is a different story. I've learned a lot more since then. I've developed much better habits, gotten rid of some old bad habits that were probably holding me back. And now at this mature age, I'm looking at probably the next 15, 20 years of just rolling solo and being an insurance broker for all my clients, doing all the things that I've always done, representing all the major insurance companies, the Medicare plans, the Cover California, the individual, and staying on top of that is enough. Somebody talked to me about doing property and casualty as well, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
there's
whole different beast.
Oh yeah, we've already got our guy for that one. He's on top of the world with that one. So I'm glad that I have people like him that I can refer to, because that's a natural referral partner
For sure.
for a guy like me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
we've in, let's see, what is it, 11 years that we've been business networking. Keith Badner and I, we're the two lone wolves left from the start of NCCC.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so we were two of the founders, and we built the whole model and everything off of the heels of being in a LATIP group, and didn't like the corporate nonsense that was behind the veil of a global organization like that. And we were like, we can bring it back to the local level, and we can serve our community, and we can serve our members, and not have to pay somebody for any of the stuff. Like, technology is too advanced now. We can do this on our own.
I agree.
And so hence NCCC arrived, and we haven't had somebody who does what you do in the group since.
Wow.
So it was a really exciting thing to have you join the group. And then when we kind of lost you for a moment there, we were like, oh, dang it, we finally had a guy. And now we don't have a guy.
I'm back.
But I'll be honest, your space is one that's not super familiar to me.
Yeah.
Not being involved in that aspect of too many clients' lives as a mortgage guy. I know homeowners insurance. I connect Keith with a lot of people in property management, renters insurance, and
Right.
connect a lot of people there, but don't really have that true in for people who need health insurance. So I'd love a little education
Sure.
from you today so I can better understand how I can become a good referral partner to you in your space. So what does a consumer look for when they need to buy their own insurance? So a company doesn't provide you insurance, you retire.
Right.
Is that kind of where it is? So you retire from the workforce, and now you need to seek your own health insurance.
Yep, that's one of the pathways that I get clients is when
Okay.
they leave a corporate job. Maybe they had employer-sponsored coverage, so they'll be offered a COBRA
Yep.
option.
Okay, familiar with that
right?
term.
So usually, what happens there is clients will come to me with their COBRA, and they'll say, based on what I have available here, this is what COBRA's telling me I'm going to pay. Is there anything I should be comparing it to where I might be able to get similar coverage, maybe better coverage, maybe lesser coverage, and save some monthly premium? Because usually COBRA is more expensive than people
That's what I
realize.
seem to hear, yeah.
Yeah, it's because they're not used to paying the full premium. They
Right.
love their coverage because usually they're heavily subsidized by their employers. So a good referral for me is somebody leaving a position where they had coverage, and they want to compare the COBRA versus either a Covered California plan, because sometimes their income goes down,
Yep.
and that may make them eligible for help on health insurance, or we can look directly to the insurance company of choice, say a Kaiser, a Blue Shield, or an Anthem, a Health Net, Molina, Sharp, whatever. And we can determine whether the COBRA option is the best option or whether this plan is the best option based on their individual needs. And then some people who are retiring out of work, they will need Medicare.
Okay.
And Medicare is usually for age 65 and up. And I've been doing Medicare my whole career.
Okay.
So I probably know that better than anything.
Got it.
But so whether somebody is 1 day old or 100 years old, whether it comes to health insurance, I have pathways for every stage of somebody's life,
Got it.
including small employer-sponsored plans. So if somebody's got a company, maybe they got 5, 6, 7 employees, and they're looking to offer it, I can do that too.
Got it. And that's not COBRA, but is that like a part of the Covered California?
That could be.
Okay.
It could be.
Got it.
So Covered California is specifically, since we're in the open enrollment for Covered California and individual plans, Covered California is very specific. If you have an income between a low number and a high number, somewhere in between there, then we would want to go to Covered California and see if we can get you your health insurance with a subsidy that's already been paid for through, the federal government to Cover California, and says, okay, we're going to use this to subsidize your health insurance because you said your income is this. If it's too high, you get no help.
Got it.
If it's too low, we could be looking at Medi-Cal. Now, I don't deal with Medi-Cal, but I can help guide people to Medi-Cal.
Okay. Because
So-
is that more of a government? They just have to go straight to the government
They
to
do.
get that.
They do.
You can't broker that product,
Nope.
right?
They won't let us do it, but I know enough about it that I can hold their hand a little bit. And once I get them to a certain point, I just hand them off to the county.
Okay.
So I'm willing to help people, if they're clients and they have kids or if they have parents who need that kind of direction, I don't mind doing that.
Got it.
I'm happy to help.
Okay. And so 11 years doing this here in California, what have you seen in terms of the expense for medical? Like, is it drastically more expensive
Yeah.
these days?
Yes. Ever since the ACA, Affordable Care Act, quote, Obamacare was implemented, I guess it's 10 plus years ago now. So I think
Yeah.
it's 2013, 2014. The premiums for a traditional health insurance plan have doubled, if not tripled.
Wow.
And that's what happens, unfortunately, sometimes when the government gets involved. It's well-intended, usually it's well-intended, but can be poorly executed.
Yeah.
So the intention was great. But when you no longer, think about car insurance. Keith
Yeah.
could probably talk to this at a much better level. We used to have in the day for health insurance, much like car insurance, if you were healthy and you wanted a certain plan and you could qualify for underwriting,
Yep.
you could get a favorable rate, just like a mortgage.
Got it.
So health insurance was geared back in the day that if you were healthy, wanted a good plan, and you wanted to pick and kind of choose what you wanted coverage for, you could parse a plan down for a guy like me for a couple $100 a month. Today, if I wanted to go find the same coverage or equal coverage based on today's rates, it's probably triple.
Holy moly. Okay.
Yeah. And that's because now we're all sharing the risk. Whereas back in the day, you were able to parse out your high-risk clients to some people wouldn't qualify, right? Just like a mortgage loan or something like that. They would have to go to maybe a secondary market to look for some help. And we used to have that. We had the high-risk exchange, basically. It was run, every state kind of had a high-risk pool where they would take a guy like me who couldn't qualify for anything, and they'd say, go talk to this segment over here, and they'll get you coverage. It's usually like 30, 40% higher.
Got it.
So we used to have that.
Because of risk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people would get denied in one way, which seemed kind of mean, but then they would move them over to the secondary market where they could buy insurance at a higher rate.
Yeah.
That was gotten rid of. So now we all have to share the risk, and so the healthy people are going to pay more, just like any kind of insurance.
Got it.
And that's what's happened, unfortunately. And we've had a little bit of an episode here with our federal government on the subsidies through Cover California, continuing certain subsidies, not continuing certain subsidies. So that's been on the news lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like that's been a big part of the political agenda between the two parties right
Always
now,
is.
fighting over Medicare or
Can't imagine.
health insurance for everybody versus no, you need to be bona fide to be covered here. So a lot of drama in that. We won't go political on the show. not one of the things we focus on. We're business spirited.
Absolutely.
So, it's more how do we help people, and so that's great. I can relate to the idea behind what you're saying there in terms of like in the mortgage space where your conforming traditional good credit, good income borrower fits in Fannie Freddie conforming loans.
That's right.
And that more risky out of the box consumer who maybe has higher risk, lower credit scores, tougher documentation to prove income, they become a non-qualified mortgage component, and they get an inferior loan product or a higher interest rate
exact
product.
same thing.
Similar type of pathway there.
Yep.
All right. So for the group NCCC, most of the members of our group are self-employed. Some of them work for organizations, but they're sales folks for an organization.
Right.
But most of our members are self-employed, don't work for big companies.
Right.
And anybody in the group who is in that category could become a client to you.
Absolutely.
Right. So they can come to you and say, hey, Steve and I, me and my family have this plan, but, is there anything better?
Absolutely. I do that all the time.
Okay.
All the time. And sometimes, I'm thinking of one right now. Actually, I think Helene was a client of mine.
Okay.
So I think that's part of the reason why I felt like a pretty natural fit. I already had kind of like somebody speaking up for me when I first showed up. Basically, where are you going with that? I'm sorry. Lost my train of thought.
Just about the group how you can help the members of NCCC who are entrepreneurs who don't have who don't have companies sponsored.
Most of them wouldn't. Some of them might if they have a spouse.
Yeah.
So that's one way. If you're married and you're part of our group and you're not sure what to do, we'd always want to take a look at if you have a spouse who's working who's being offered coverage.
Right.
Usually the spouse who's working is being offered highly subsidized premiums. And typically they will offer coverage for the spouse, maybe the children, not at a subsidized level. So those costs can be kind of high. So a lot of people who might want to stay, who are maybe working, who don't have any kids, maybe they want to stay on that sponsored plan. But if you have children and things like that where your income is still sufficient, but you have multiple dependents, we would probably want to look at Cover California and see if we can get that $2,000 a month premium dropped down. If not, at least we know we tried and take a look at it.
Sure.
But that can free up a lot of money. I've had clients who've done that, who are self-employed. Their income varies all the time, so it's constantly changing. I'm thinking of one right now. She's a tattoo artist. She pays like $150 a month for her insurance, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The normal cost is like $800 a month.
I say that's cheaper than my car insurance.
Yeah, but she got it through Cover California, and it's because her income, with all of her write-offs and things like that, allows her to get awesome coverage at a much reduced rate. So some people, they don't even know that they should be looking. So I'm willing to do that with anybody who says, look, I don't know if I should be paying $1,000 a month for my insurance. Is there anything better? Let's look. Worst case scenario, I'm going to tell you need to stay put.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the benefit of this program and why we've started this North Coast Coffee Chats is to really get a one-on-one opportunity to dive into, where did you come from? How did you get to where you're at? But then also to really get to understand your business, because you join a business networking group, one, for the relationships,
Right.
but two, to build your business. And, I feel that NCNG has been a very, very valuable platform for a lot of our members. Unfortunately, some of our members have grown their business so well out of there that they've moved on.
Sure.
Which is great for them, bummer for our group, because there's strong referral partners. But
Yeah.
I look forward to having you do a presentation in the group. We do those. We do 2 per week, so you should be getting on the calendar hopefully in December.
Yep.
Awesome. So get to use that 15 minutes of time to really educate the group. And I could just think off the top of my head, there's probably 12 to 15 people in there that probably should at least have a conversation with you,
Sure.
if not more. So hopefully that'll be a lead into some future business opportunities and some referrals. And that's really what NCNG is based on. We're a business referral network, and we're built to create referrals for each other. And having a power partner is a really
Right.
good way to do that and to have success within the group. So obviously Keith would be a great power partner for you. I would imagine Larissa, if you haven't met Larissa Sevkina, she's the CPA.
Yes.
I would imagine she would be a good conduit to some referrals as a tax preparer of many small business owners.
You would be surprised that you would be a good one too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how.
Yeah.
So anytime somebody buys a home or sells a home, usually they're moving. And if they're moving and somebody has health insurance, that's a qualifying event for them to, if they're moving from one geographical location, even from one county to a different county.
Okay.
So if somebody said they're moving from LA, they just bought a house, they got it through you guys, that's a referral
Okay.
for me, because they have to buy new health insurance.
Okay. If they're not covered by their employer.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's a good off-record
It's
meetup
simple.
for you and me to sit down and dot the I's across the T's on my talk tracks for introductions to you.
Right. If it's somebody in San Diego County who's moving within the county region, probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Okay.
But those folks who move from one geographical location, because all health insurance is sold individually in the states now.
Okay.
It used to be you could buy something here in California that you can use nationwide. Not anymore.
Got it.
So everything is regionalized. So if somebody was in LA or San Francisco or even in Arizona and they moved to California, bought a house, started putting in roots, they are perfect referral partner or referrals for me.
Okay.
Because they need to shop new insurance in their area, much like car or home. Same thing.
Okay. So outside of a property casualty insurance broker, what other businesses would be great referral partners to you?
CPA is a good one. Estate planning attorney is a good one. Divorce attorneys are good ones. People in the wellness industry, believe it or not, because some people are looking for insurance to cover chiropractic or cover, there's no massage coverage as of yet, but chiropractic and acupuncture, some of the carriers are going to offer that. And if we have folks in that industry, in the wellness industry, I'm a good referral partner for them.
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, my client's looking to use my massage. I take this insurance. Can you show them that insurance next time that they're up for renewal? Because they want to use me for their services. Then yeah, we can take a look at that as well.
Perfect.
Yep.
Awesome. So you just started your new business. You want to tell our audience your business, how to get a hold of you, where to find you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the Stephen Cummings Insurance Group. It's very, very straightforward. The group stands for the group of insurance carriers that I represent. So I don't have employees. I don't have multiple locations. I just am an independent broker that represents all the major carriers in the state of California for individual, Cover California, Medicare programs. You can find me at SCIGSD for San Diego, so Stephen Cummings Insurance Group San Diego.com. That's my website, SCIGSD. And my email address is scig.n, as in North San Diego, NSD, @gmail.com. Phone number is 442 480-3273. Had to make sure I remember that. I now have 2 phones. So
Burner phone and then the business phone.
the business phone and then the personal phone, yeah. I never thought I would, but I found that it's valuable now.
Yeah.
So since I don't have necessarily the brick and mortar establishment that I used to have at the previous agency, I'll be working mostly remotely for now.
Yeah.
And then meeting with clients for coffee, things like that. So there's still some clients who say, I just want to see your face. They like that. And then, of course, the Zoom platforms and me willing to drive pretty much in North County. So anything outside of North County is going to be a Zoom platform, but I can still help them.
Cool.
So,
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Stephen Cummings Insurance Group here and helping you with all of your health insurance needs from retirees and to your 1-year-old baby if you're a self-employed individual and insuring your entire family. So.
That's right.
Well, Stephen, great to have you on the show this morning.
Good to see you.
Very good to get to understand your business a little bit more. One, like I admitted, I'm not overly familiar with. I've always worked for companies where I've had insurance, so I've never really had to shop for my own. So a little bit of an education for me today. And
Absolutely.
Look forward to partnering with you in the group and hopefully creating some business opportunities for one another.
Love it. Looking forward to it.
All right. Great. Well, this episode is brought to you by our partner at Max Lux Media, Rob Esposito. Thank you for the studio and for always hosting our podcast here at NC North Coast Coffee Chats. Make it a wrap.